Alright, welcome back everybody in this awesome Steve Vai album review series we've been just flying on through. You know, we've got with this one coming up here, we got this album, we have the one after that, and then of course his newest release that just dropped this month. So we've got 4 album reviews to go to the big ranking, and then of course we'll, you know, in that ranking we'll talk about the next band we'll be reviewing. It this time it'll be kind of a short, you know, kind of interlude. So, but we'll get on to that. With all that being said here, we're hopping from 1999, last album, you know, Ultrazone being in 1999, entering in the 2000s. This is the only Steve Vai album in the 2000s. Of course, talking about 2005, Real Illusions Reflections. And it's kind of complicated how, and I didn't even really know all about this until reading up on it more. And I've heard this album several times before. As usual, awesome production from Steve, you know, really cool stuff going on. But what I didn't know about this is that it was really, well, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. Okay, so I knew it was a concept album with Story of Light being the one after this, but apparently after reading into it and reading some of like the CD booklet and everything, it's a concept album out of order that Steve, it's supposed to be a part of a 3-part thing, but he's not made the 3rd one yet. But he says like it's all out of order, and he's going to wait, you know, years and years in between releases of this 3-part series until the 3rd one finally comes out, and then he said the story will all make sense. So it's kind of cool, kind of crazy. Said it's going to be his life's work or, you know, something like that. So kind of a crazy idea he's got going on here, but pretty much the concept and most of the stuff going on here, again, it's kind of jumbled until we get, you know, the 3rd and final piece, because we have the 2nd piece, which, again, it's all kind of jumbled out of order, so we don't really know exactly the story being told. The kind of gist of it is that just this man traveling along just completely lost in life, you know, and discovering different philosophies and stuff, and just questioning reality, pretty much. It's kind of the gist of what's going on here, the most songs, but again, in relation to the story part, we don't have it all pieced together, because we have this part, and then we've got, you know, of course, he waited like over a good, almost 10 years till the next part came out, The Story of Light, which will be the next album we review. And then, of course, the 3rd one has not come out yet, so we're just hanging tight for that. Whenever he'll eventually work on the 3rd and final piece for this. But anyways, with all that being said, guys, we'll hop right on in here with the opening track, Building the Church. And man, this has always been one of my favorites here. You start off with this kind of crazy, like, keyboardy thing going on, and then into Steve tearing the freaking house down, or tearing the church down, then building it back up, because, you know, since it's called Building the Church. But man, you just talk about just prime Steve Vai with his just, of course, another impeccable melody, key melody that is just beautiful. And the way the notation kind of is, and there's a lot of synthy kind of sounds on this album, and this one really kind of starts that off there. And then, you know, you get kind of that really crazy, like, keyboardy thing going on again, and then a really cool solo with a synthesizer kind of effect on his guitar that really sounds a lot like that keyboard intro going on. So Building the Church is just an incredible song, one of my favorite Steve Vai songs out there. So damn good. Then we've got the first vocal track to include vocals on it, with Steve singing on Dying for Your Love. Really, really pretty track. Really, really awesome vocals from Steve yet again. And, you know, let me make sure here. This is the one yeah. This one, he has really, really cool, he does like a lot of falsetto stuff, which is really kind of cool. And like the chorus of this one, it's got kind of like a wicked sound to it. And really just, it's really minor sounding, within the really the whole song, but mainly in like the pre-chorus and chorus, that gives it kind of a little bit of a dark edge to it, but with yet the really pretty, and clean vocals of Steve over it. And again, he just keeps improving as a singer over and over, you know, as he's gone on through his career, and it's more comfortable to try like a kind of higher pitched and falsetto voice like on here. So really, really cool stuff. Then we hop on over to Glorious, which is another solid track. Not one of my favorites per se off here, but it's a good one. Kind of just a cool little shreddy deal he's got going on. That doesn't stand out quite as much as a lot of these other tracks on here that we'll talk about. But Glorious is another solid track. Then the next track is probably my favorite off here. It always has been a favorite of mine off here. One of my favorite Vi tracks out there. Quim P Do We. You know, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, you know, I mean, it's not really a real word. If you can see it there, kind of hard to. But it's K''Pee-E-D-U-W-E-E. So Kim P Do We. And that one's kind of like about a mother falling in love with her child and singing him a lullaby, or or something like that. And man, I mean, it's as pretty as a freaking lullaby because just super peaceful sounding, and I love the kind of really chill aspect of this. I love when Steve does anything like that. If you've seen like a lot of these reviews as we've gone on here, the really relaxing and peaceful, just kind of soulful playing Steve ones they're some of my favorites, and this is definitely one of them. I love one of the verses that's going on where there's like all the guitar stuff stops, you just hear the drum, and then you hear kind of almost this whisper of the guitar coming in, doing its thing, and then whenever it does kind of pick up pace a little bit, but not too much because it is kind of one of them softer ones, you get just a beautiful solo yet again from Steve. So awesome song. Kim P Do We, if that's how you say it. One of my favorite Steve Vai songs. Then we hop on over to Fireball, which is another sang one, and it's kind of it reminds me a lot of the track off Ultrazone, Here I Am, with the way the chorus is and everything. But that's not a bad thing. That it reminds me of that, even though they are really similar, because Firewall's a good track in its own right. Really solid riff going on here, and man, just really cool stuff that we've got with that. And Steve again knocking the vocal work out of the park. Doesn't really go for all the high-pitched stuff. Again, it's a lot like Here I Am off Ultrazone, so it's kind of like a big kind of pumped-up chorus and everything, so really cool song. Then we hop on over to Freak Show Excess, and in this one's all over the place, just like a freak show, just shredding and tearing it up everywhere. And at one part, there's this really crazy bass solo, and I remember, and I never knew this before, but like upon this re-listen to this album, I was like, man, that sounds a lot like Billy Sheehan. Sure enough, I open this thing up right here, pull out the disc, and Billy Sheehan's sitting right there. So, and he's my favorite bass player of all time, and they've worked together, Steve's worked on one of Billy's solo albums, Billy's worked on some of his, and they've worked together, David Lee Roth, they've been on the G3 tour together. They're like buddies, and just two technical legends. And so I was really, I guess I never noticed that before, but really upon this re-listen, heard that gnarly bass solo going on, I was like, yeah, that's Billy Sheehan. There's just no way around it. And sure enough, so really pleasantly surprised to discover that. And just an awesome song. And at one part, it's funny, Steve, like, the whole thing stops. He's like, all right, enough of that craziness. And then it just picks right back up and starts shredding again. So I love Freak Show Excess. Really fun one. Then we get Lotus Feet, which is like almost like a soundscape, as pretty as it is. It, just like it's it's like a lotus flower, so it's really aptly titled that. And there's just a lot of beautiful strings and synths going on here, even like some horns getting thrown in there later on, and of course Steve just beautifully playing his melodies, very soft and clean-toned melodies over this, that I'm telling you, if anything has ever sounded like a soundscape that he's done, it's that one right there. It almost sounds like something like you would hear in like a Legend of Zelda game or something like on the soundtrack, which is super cool because I'm a fan of that, those games and their music, and it's always really atmospheric. And Lotus Feet, it's just incredibly atmospheric song. Then we got Yayai, which is a kind of a little interlude deal, a little 2-minute, 37-second deal, and it reminds me so much of Kill the Guy with the Ball off of Alien Love Secrets, because you kind of had that weird, like, robotic kind of sounding voice effect or whatever on Kill the Guy with the Ball. Well, that same effect's on here, but instead it's going like, yai. Like, it's just so freaking funny. I love it. And it's just a really cool song. Also got some shredding stuff going on. So, cool little one right here. Then we've got Midway Creatures, which is pretty damn heavy. I love the riff in here. Steve, he can be really freaking heavy when he wants to be, just like when we saw with the track "Ooh" off of Ultrazone, and we've seen him go pretty dark and heavy plenty of times throughout his career with some pretty like just monster riffs, really chuggy sounding riffs. And Midway Creatures is one of them. Definitely one of the. I forgot all about that track. So upon this re-list, I was like, damn, that's one of his heavier ones. You know, the way the riff is going and that, and just a solid track. Then we go to "I'm Your Secrets," the second last track here in the album. Really, really cool one. Again, a really kind of pretty one with some vocal work in it, and almost like a whispering kind of chorus to it with Steve saying "I'm your secrets," you know, and kind of almost a little bit of a romantic song from Steve, and just really, really cool. And then we've got "Under It All," which is a big old 8 minute. It's something epic. So you know when he's got those, you know they're gonna be great. Look at Fire Garden, for example. You know that's like an 8 or 9 minute crazy just ride, and they never feel like they've overstayed their welcome with these big epics. And "Under It All," same thing. It doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome at all. It's got your crazy shred stuff going on. Really, really nice, smooth breakdown. You've got just it's your perfect Steve Vai epic, exactly how you want him to be. So in a perfect closer to this album, you know, just kind of writes off this part of this supposed three-part concept album that we'll have to, as fans, rearrange in our own way, or maybe he'll eventually, you know, once the third one's out, kind of explain more on the order in which to really listen to him, which will be cool. And I'm hoping that Steve completes like for his next album, because it's been, you know, "Story of Light," which is what we'll cover next time, came out in 2012, and he's had 2 albums after that had nothing to do with this concept. So I'm hoping maybe the next album he goes back to this, and maybe does this last this last thing of this trio of albums here. But hey, what a way to start it with you know, "Real Illusions Reflections." Badass album. Again, a really, really underrated one. And I love the kind of concept of like that it's going to be kind of all over the place. I think that's really cool. And you know, Steve said the reason he takes so long in between doing, like, because like I said, it was almost 10 years between this one and the next album we'll review, "Story of Light." And he says he does that to literally show a passing of time in the story. So we'll see, like, you know, it's like time has really passed when the story picks back up or whatever. So really cool concept, and amazing, amazing album yet again from freaking Vai. So no surprise there. If you know, I mean, it's just hard to find a bad album from this guy. So we're gonna keep trucking along when we're again all the way out of the 2000s next time into the 2010s with 2012's "The Story of Light," the second in the trio of these concept records here. So I'm pretty hyped to be looking back into that, and now knowing of how it kind of is more and how it's supposed to be structured. Upon this re-listen of "Story of Light," I'll kind of try to piece it together a little bit more, because like I said, I didn't really know. I always knew they were a pair, this and "Story of Light," but I didn't know that there was supposed to be a third one coming at some point, and they all kind of tie together in this weird way. So I'll definitely be kind of listening for that and seeing how they connect. But yeah, with that being said, guys, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this, and kind of about this kind of really loose-ended concept, and what you guys think about concept albums, period, because I love them. I think they're really cool. You know, I've reviewed a couple on here with like I'm trying to think. I did the Dio Magica, which is not my favorite concept album or anything, but I can't think if I've reviewed another concept album on here or not. Yeah, "Seventh Son of a Seventh Son" by Iron Maiden, and that's a freaking amazing concept album. But "A Matter of Life and Death," I think, would be considered one. But yeah, guys, just let me know what you guys think about this thing right here, and we're getting real close to wrapping it up, and you know, we're getting real close to seeing also my thoughts and reviewing through the newest Steve Vai record. So we're almost there. Hang tight, guys. Like, subscribe, comment, and stay tuned next time when we review "Story of Light." Thanks.